Portland, Oregon, 5 years after 100 nights of rioting, and here we are again. Violent protest, chaos outside ICE offices, and federal agents warning that someone's going to get killed. Take a look.
5 years ago, the city of Portland, Oregon, suffered through 100 consecutive days of rioting, looting, burning, and attacks on federal buildings, federal agents. If you listen to the legacy media mob or Democrats, they called them mostly peaceful. That seems like that, mostly peaceful. Radical leftists are at it again, staging loud, violent, zany nightly protests outside the ICE office in Portland, dressing up like chickens, burning MAGA hats. I'm having a hard time understanding this new Democratic Party. Nearby residents say they can't get any sleep and that things get violent every night.
Remember when the media called this mostly peaceful? Yeah, chickens, burning MAGA hats, and nightly violence somehow passes for peaceful these days?
ICE Director Todd Lyons, who's been on the show, shared some insight into what his agents are facing in Portland nightly. Take a look.
But we're out there every night battling, people that are bringing sticks, bats, shields, throwing their own CS grenades at us. So it's not a peaceful situation. It's not First Amendment.
Now, President Trump, he is cracking down, mobilizing the National Guard to protect the ICE agents and protect federal property. The left, of course, they're in total freakout mode. A lawsuit has already been filed. Protests, more of them are planned. And some new protest tactics are being offered up by the left. One Portland City Councilwoman telling fellow leftists they should buy burner phones, wear masks to avoid being held accountable for their insane attacks on law enforcement.
Think about this. An elected official telling protesters to buy burner phones and wear masks to avoid accountability. That's not democracy. That's organized chaos against law enforcement.
Remember what this is all about. These leftists, they are protesting the removal of illegal immigrants from our country. People like the former superintendent of all public schools in Des Moines, Iowa, who was an illegal from Ghana with a criminal record, several fake guns, a fake doctorate degree. Despite the public service ICE is providing, Democrats continue to demonize the entire agency. Did they forget what happened in Dallas? Take a look.
And then you have the Supreme Court, after two decisions on the local level, the state level in California, around racial profiling of Latinos, which we refer to here as the hunting of Latinos, that has created a blanket of fear around this city and has had detrimental impacts to our economy. We had two court decisions, and then the Supreme Court basically gave a green light to racial profiling. They are trying to dial us back to the 1940s, and that is a tragedy for the American people.
And breaking tonight, Apple has just removed the app ICE Block from the App Store. Now, the program allowed users to post the location of ICE agents, which, as the Attorney General Pam Bondi pointed out, put them in serious danger. Her discussions with Apple got that app removed.
And here's the kicker. Apple had an app on its store literally doxing ICE agents. It only got pulled after the Attorney General intervened. How was that even allowed in the first place?
Here with reaction is President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. How would Apple get away with doxing agents and contributing to an atmosphere of putting agents and law enforcement in danger like that? Now, he doesn't have jurisdiction, but California Governor, Mr. Sanctuary State himself, signed a bill that would prevent or prohibit ICE agents from putting on masks, but he does not apply the law to the very armed people that guard him, California Highway Patrol. Your reaction to that, and what is your message to Gavin about what the danger he's putting these agents in? Does he bear responsibility?
Well, he absolutely does, and good luck with that. The law requiring ICE not to wear masks. I think federal law always trumps any state law, and it's ridiculous. I said it before. You ought to be calling President Trump and thanking President Trump for making his state much safer. Absolutely, and you and I talked about this, I think, back in March, Sean. I said if the hateful rhetoric doesn't decrease, someone's going to be killed.
That's the line right there. A former ICE director saying it out loud. If this rhetoric doesn't stop, agents will die. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a warning from someone who's seen it for 40 years.
And, of course, the left went crazy. I can't believe Homan said that. And, unfortunately, I've been right. There's been 3 shootings in Texas alone where one officer was shot in the neck. One of the bad guys was killed by Border Patrol agents when he attacked their facility. Yeah, and now we got a detainee that was killed not two, in Dallas, Texas, when they're shooting into a van, hoping to hit ICE agents, but the van is shaded, so they actually hit our detainees. So, and I tell you what, it's not over. If the rhetoric doesn't stop, it's going to happen again. I've seen this game over and over again in my 40 years. This movie's going to play again unless the rhetoric stops.
Last question. What is the situation on the ground with Antifa and the organization and seemingly the approval of local government with Antifa outside of ICE facilities in Portland?
Local government does not support ICE. Every attack on ICE building and ICE personnel, Portland Police Department don't respond. Even though these officers and agents and employees are taxpayers of the city of Portland, the Portland PD has a responsibility to protect them too. I was up there a few weeks ago. The employees, it's a dangerous job, and it's making more dangerous from the threats and the attacks in that building. What I'm most concerned when I talk to the other employees like the clerks and the support personnel, the people who don't carry badges and guns, that get followed home from the building. One agent was followed home from the building and assaulted in his very own driveway. So my main concern is for all of them, but the personnel who are not armed, who are not trained to deal with this, they're being followed too. And every night I pray that every one of these men and women go home safe.
So do I. I share that with you. And
that's the part that hits the hardest. It's not just the agents, the people without badges or weapons who are getting followed home and attacked. That's where the rhetoric leads. What's your take? Are ICE agents being left unprotected? Let me know in the comments. And if you like what you heard, click the like and subscribe button.